showtime.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl Nita, your favorite diva, and I am back. I am back to discuss The Batman. This is a non spoiler review, and I'm here to protect your viewing experience. I'm not going to disclose any spoilers, so don't worry about it. If you do want a spoiler filled review from me, please let me know in the comments. All right? The movie is written and directed by Matt Reeves. You may know him from The War of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Let Me In, and Cloverfield. He has a filmography there. The movie is starring Robert Pattinson. You know him from Twilight, but I don't want you guys to judge him based off of that. Now, he was recently in Christopher Nolan's Tenet. That's a very good movie to judge his acting abilities. We have Zoe Kravitz. You know that is Lisa Bonet's daughter. She played in Mad Max. She plays in this movie called Kimmy on HBO, and she played in the X-Men movie. Paul Dano, you may know him from The Guilty on the Netflix, 12 Years a Slave, and Prisoners. Jeffrey Wright, you may know him from a host of movies. A series that he played on recently is Westworld for me. Andy Serkis, you remember him from the Planet of the Apes, of course, and Black Panther. Colin Farrell, you know him from The Gentleman and Phone Booth. Peter Skarsgård from Dope Sick and Green Lantern, and many, many, many others. You guys, I can't go through how many people play in this movie. Please know that it's stacked. Please know that it's a lot of people in this movie. The movie clocks in at a whopping 2 hours and 57 minutes. It is classified as an action crime drama mystery. And the synopsis reads: when the Riddler, a sadistic serial killer, begins murdering key political figures in Gotham, Batman is forced to investigate the city's hidden corruption and question his family's involvement. And that is all I'm going to say because this is your spoiler free review. If you're new to the channel, first time finding me, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Make sure you follow me on my social media. Join the community. I come here to give you recaps, film reviews, all of these things. I do live shows occasionally, I premiere occasionally. And yeah, so just consider joining the community if you so like my content. To my Diva Squad, thank you for coming back, clicking on that video. You know we do here. I watch movies so you don't have to. I tell you the good, the bad, and everything in between. No spoilers, of course, and let you know whether or not you should know or go see it in theaters. So let's get with the good. Outside of Matt Reeves' spectacular, spectacular direction, Michael Giacchino score was amazing. Next level. He finds a way to outdo himself every time. He is one of the goats of music composition working today. And another one that I can just pull off the top of my head is John Williams and Hans Zimmer. But the score was haunting. Oh, the chords, the strings, everything was just it was hitting. It was hitting on all cylinders. Matt Reeves definitely took a lot of influence from David Fincher's Seven and Zodiac in this detective film noir. The cinematography was amazing. Some of the uh, skylines were breathtaking. The camera work was so interesting and so consistent. It never, he's never one of those type of directors that have a certain style and overdo it where it starts to feel stale or overdone. He has some really interesting camera angles. The one of note is the one where the penguin is upside from the car crash. He's upside down, and he sees Batman come through the fire and the smoke, and the angle is coming from a different vantage point because the car is flipped upside down. So you kind of see the penguin's point of view of what he sees, And that shot, that is the money shot. I'm telling you, the camera work was fantastic. Everything was firing on all cylinders. The score, the sound design, the haunting nature. So listen, so when I say the sound design, we have this thing where the Batman is kind of like in the shadows, and the way he, he's not saying I'm Batman, he's saying I'm vengeance. He's saying I'm vengeance. So we understand from his narration, which I did like, I'll get into a little bit later. Um the way he comes in fearful, like he's forceful, like he's really like a force of nature, and he really leans into that. And so these scenes build all this tension with, him coming out the shadows. You can hear the clicking and the footsteps, and it's just kind of taunting, and you're looking at everyone's reaction, and it's just like getting real kind of like, what the hell is going to go on? So yes, the footsteps, everything, all of the different and then I saw the IMAX, see it in the biggest theater, the loudest theater. Had a really good time with the IMAX viewing. And so yes, I loved all his gadgets and toys. Well, I don't want to say toys, his toys like the Batmobile, the bike. He has these advanced tools that he used to do his investigative work. This is a very, very dark, gritty detective film noir. It is best to set your expectations because this is not your average Batman movie. Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman, was a fantastic counterpart to Robert Pattinson's Batman. They had a fantastic chemistry. They played very well off each other. From her femme fatale nature and her charismatic swagger, she was giving, baby. She was giving. She was, the heat was just coming up off the screen with her. The look in her eye, the way she just, the way she moved, everything. She definitely understood the assignment. The only thing I will say about their character is that they kind of came together really, really fast. Like the connection was there. I mean, I understand sometimes connections are electric, and energy is just that energy. Colin Farrell, totally unrecognizable in his role as the Penguin, aka Oswald Cobblepot. Now, you did not even see his face, you didn't hear his voice, you didn't see his mannerisms. He definitely should be in the talk for some awards as far as makeup, costume, and all of that. He killed it. He had a pretty meaty role as well. He had a lot of screen time as well. And Jeffrey Wright as Commander Gordon, he was excellent as well. He had a lot of screen time as well. And he ended up being like the little sidekick to, Batman. It wasn't a Robin, but it was like a Commander Gordon. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so Gotham felt really, really grounded and really lived in. The story provided such a deep, rich lore, and there was a lot there, and there were a lot of characters that they kept talking about, but they were all tied together and interwoven where you didn't really get lost with all the exposition that they were given. And they were given a lot of exposition, and I'll touch on that a little bit in the cons of the film, so stick with me. It was super hyper violent. This was definitely running up against, this is the PG-13. It was doing this. It was like on the cliff, like hanging. It was tap dancing onto crossing over to the rated R territory because of the hyper violence. But there wasn't a lot of blood. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a lot of blood and gore, but there was definitely a lot of hand-to-hand combat. It was a lot of gun work. It was, if that's what you're here for, they definitely got it for sure. I really enjoyed the voiceover from Batman / Bruce Wayne. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I believe it gave me a little bit more into his psyche, because Bruce Wayne in this particular iteration of him, he's not your average like charismatic playboy billionaire and stuff like that. He's very recluse. He's very introverted or whatever. You can see it from the trailers. He definitely does not have the over the top. Where he shines is in the Batman role. He was Batman about 85 to 90% of the movie. Um, I enjoyed his character arc. It was very nuanced but subtle, but it was there. They did a really good job tying the theme throughout the movie. Even though we were on this detective work, they really did drive an emotional point home by the time the end of the movie, got there. So I know I just gushed and gushed and gushed over this movie, but there are some issues. And so, while I think there's quite a bit of exposition that kind of back the lore and tried to flesh out the characters and the backstories, and but it can get a little convoluted at times, because especially for me, because I'm a casual comic book fan, especially of DC Comics. I don't get too much in the lore of what's going on. They have all these different storylines, don't know none of them. So some of the names that they were throwing out, they were kind of lost upon me. Okay, so they didn't have the impact, and they didn't land the way that they should have on my first viewing. Now I can watch it again, having known what I know, and then kind of like maybe put the pieces together a little bit better. But on first viewing, it didn't have the impact for me, since I'm not a reader of the comics. I'm just a very casual fan. And the third act is okay. So let me explain. There was this thing about how I know we've seen a movie that's done that before. I can't think of one that comes to mind, but it feels like the movie has ended. We're getting ready to wrap up, and then you realize this is a 3-hour film, and then you look at the watch, you look at your time, and it's like you got 40 minutes left. And I was like, 40 minutes? And so there was a lot more left. But I had already felt like I was satisfied, and I felt like I had reached the end, you know what I'm saying? So then they tried to build it up a little bit, but it didn't give. Like it didn't get any better. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, okay, it was just 40 minutes more. Yeah. So I got to the end point 40 minutes too early. So yeah, that's where I think that has something to do with the structuring of the movie or something like that. So the length was a little bit too long. Of course, I've already said that. It could have been tighter for sure, but it's a detective film noir with some action. So this is an extremely different take on the character. So set your expectations for that. It's grounded, but it's a little suspend your disbelief. There was too much gunplay when it came to Batman and how he would rush into these things, and you're just a mere mortal, but you have, like, armor and all this other stuff. But yeah, it just didn't. I was just like, okay, whatever. I just take it for whatever it is. So before I give you my overall thoughts on the Batman 2022, why don't you take a moment and follow me on my social media? It's right there. So for my final thoughts on my number one anticipated film of 2022, it didn't disappoint. It didn't disappoint. I enjoyed all that Matt Reeves had to offer with the showcase of a Batman being the top greatest detective in the world, film noir, because that's what they say he is, right? He's a detective, and we got some detective work in here. So with influences from David Fincher's Seven and Zodiac, Reeves was able to craft a gritty, grounded Batman reimagining that showcased Gotham as a character as well. Most of the supporting characters shine as well, especially Colin Farrell as Penguin, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, and Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. The cinematography was breathtaking. The score was haunting and amazing. I just sat and just listened to the score during the end credits. Like, I didn't even feel the need to get up. I was still swept into the music of it all, baby. I was enjoying. I was here for the music. But there's a short bit at the end that I just want to make you aware of. It's cute and it's very short. But if you don't have to stay, if you gotta go pee, because this was a 3-hour movie with no intermission. So there's that. So this is where DC shines for me. And it's in the independent one-offs properties that they do. Is when they try to create this extended, expanded universe. That's where they totally fumble the ball. Let Marvel stick with the extended universe, okay? I'm a Marvel girl. Stick with what works for you, DC, and that's these one-offs. And I really enjoyed this one. I'm gonna definitely tell you to go see Batman in theaters, which it'll be in theaters this Friday. I believe it's March 4th or 5th. Yeah, 4th. 4th. March 4th in theaters, or you can wait for it to start streaming whenever it becomes available. It's no judgment for me to you, but I do recommend that you go see it on the biggest theater screen that you can, the biggest and the loudest. So for my Diva recommendations, I have David Fincher's Seven, Zodiac, and Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. Happy watching, you guys. So that concludes the end of my review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you stay to the end. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you get down in the comments. Let me know if you are interested in a spoiler review. I might do a live. Let me know. It might be pre-recorded. Let me know. I don't know. Just let me know what you want. Hope you take the time to subscribe. And I hope you have a great, great rest of your day. And come back.